This is Robert Murdoch of the MyShare Learning Report, Canada's Learning and Technology e-magazine, and welcome to This Week in Canadian EdTech. Very special edition. It's fortuitous serendipity, if you will. I'm at the Serious Play Conference here at UTM in Mississauga, and connected with award-winning educator, Prime Minister Award, Schools of the Future Challenge, Benjamin Kelly from Anglophone East School Division in New Brunswick, of all places. Thank you for joining me, Ben.
It is awesome to be here in person.
Yes. And what did you think of the space?
Oh, it's awesome. Yeah, like I'd work here.
Thank you. Well, anytime. You have an open ticket as a Schools of the Future Challenge winner. I was reflecting on how far back we go when we first met. And it's amazing how we have so many relationships with leaders, teachers from across the country. And we've actually never really connected face to face, but we did at ISTE.
Right.
And that was
9 years ago.
Right.
I went to your Can-Am celebration that 9 years, almost a decade ago.
It's going to be our 30th one this year at the EdTech Summit.
Right.
So I hope you can join us.
And I'm still working with some of the companies that you introduced me to that night. So that's
amazing. Yeah. And it is about relationships. And we really value our connection to you. And you're an amazing thought leader and educator that really embraces the notion of, hands-on learning, to inspire kids, to engage them. We had a wonderful keynote this morning. We're at the Serious Play Conference. We're a proud media partner. What an incredible presentation from Chris
Alexander,
who is a TMU professor, and he teaches
game design, esports, production. Yeah, it's pretty cool.
And he really taught us all about, this morning's keynote was really about optimizing your own brand and presentation and how you connect, whether it's with colleagues or students for that matter. Did you pick up a nugget or two from that?
Well, what he did was he showed us that all educators need to work harder. I mean, I'm going back to the hotel tonight to work on my presentation, and it'll probably be 2 or 3 hours of work now that we've seen Chris's guidance in how to present.
Right.
I need some self-time to get ready.
So I asked him, what, is it nature or nurture? Well, he was born in a family of educators.
All educators.
So I have educators that are surrounding me now, but not when I was growing up. So, but fascinating, inspiring. Talk to me about the whole esports space and how you got immersed in that, because you embraced Minecraft and some of the other Unreal Engine,
right,
and the value.
There's something important about bringing the world's most popular video games into the classroom. I mean, when you bring that stuff, the kids are already inherently engaged. So then you can start to feed in curriculum objectives, real world solutions, and that's what I present on tomorrow is real world solutions.
Oh, cool.
Fortnite.
So, I will make sure I don't miss that.
So it's really cool that you can use the kids' passion areas like video games in their learning. And not in a weird way, like in an actual meaningful way that can change the world. And that's my wheelhouse, if you call it that.
Well, and paint a picture for us. What does your classroom look like?
I teach in a traditional computer lab. At some points, we've had 14-year-old computers. So we're talking ancient computers. And we've had to work with these challenges. We've had to work with no hardware technology. Right. So it's just problem solving, and the kids join in that action. But really, when the games come out and you start pointing these games towards meaningful impacts, the kids love it. Like it's
absolutely. And speaking of games, we had a national contest. We have it in the screen here. Caledonia Regional School, Benjamin Kelly, and you have a student there. Talk to us about your student's inspiration in submitting a video entry with you.
Well, let me first add that Coach Paul Maurice for the Florida Panthers had a great quote when they asked him about winning the Stanley Cup. He said, "One does not win the Stanley Cup. You share the Stanley Cup."
Oh, wow.
So I would like to add that one does not win the Schools of the Future Challenge. We share the Schools of the Future Challenge.
Well said.
So Francis here is in high school, and he is using his favorite video game, BeamNG Drive, which is a physics simulator driving game, to teach teenagers who really can't read that well because, it's still a manual if you're learning how to drive. He wanted to make video game representations of how to properly drive, parallel park, zipper merges, things like that. And he's using his favorite video game to help save lives and help educate future drivers.
Amazing. And what's next for him? What grade is he going into?
He's going into grade 11. Really, really keen on physics-based games and developing and 3D printing. He's a hands-on learner.
Right.
So this was a great way for him to use his hands through video games to create something meaningful.
How did you get into teaching? Who was your inspiration and mentor?
Mom was a teacher.
Okay.
So that helps a lot, right? That we've seen from Dr.
Right.
Chris, that helps a lot. I was at summer camp one day in my 6th year working in upstate New York. And I realized out in the field one day, I said, you know what? I want to do this for the rest of my life.
Wow.
And I started saying, what jobs out there are available that I can do this for the rest of my life? And I said,
Right.
teaching. So today I still bring the summer camp atmosphere to the classroom, which I think really helps
Amazing.
a lot. Yeah.
Well, it's about engaging with all kids and being that spark, and igniting that spark within all kids. And that's kind of my philosophy. We have a lot of interns and co-op students here, and you want every kid to reach your full potential. And the technology is a tool,
Right.
to leverage, like we're leveraging a number of tools here to enable our conversation today.
Right.
And what are some of the tools you like to utilize in your daily teaching practice?
Well, there's Minecraft and Fortnite, so games. But
Right.
moving away from games with this AI fury.
I was going to ask you about
Well,
AI.
I'll call it a fury. It's an AI
Right.
fury that's ripping through the school systems.
Right.
One of the coolest new solutions I found is called Rosebud AI. And instead of coding video games, sorry, I'm back to video games, but instead of coding video games, you prompt the AI. I would like this to happen when character A touches character B. And all of that used to hold my students back. That was advanced coding when you get into but now you can simply prompt the AI in Rosebud AI to actually make this happen. It shows you the code once it does it.
And
so you're learning so you become project developer instead of project manager instead of a
developer. So is coding, what's going to happen to the coding skill?
The neat thing is once you say, and I would like the background to be red,
right,
the AI will do that for you, but then show you the code that's been added, and you go, oh, that's how I do it in JavaScript
for you. But it's that prompt engineering.
It's like reverse engineering too, right? Because you see the solution,
and it's a very real career pathway, isn't
Yes.
it? And so, talk to me about your students and what post-COVID. How are they doing? What are some of the career pathways they're wanting to pursue? I mean, you must be inspiring a lot of these kids.
Well, it's really interesting to be a computer technology teacher in a super rural district. Like we're talking like backwoods, very outdoorsy kids. But yet around the kitchen table, all they're talking about is, look what we did in Mr. Kelly's class. Look what we did in Mr. Kelly's class.
Cool.
So it's really neat that I get to bring an aspect of their lives that isn't at home in many cases. And they get to come to Caledonia Regional and experience, the technology and things. So I'm trying to create video game developers. I'm trying, but home has a different set of values as well.
Right.
Very skilled trades oriented. Right. So that's my mission, is to try to balance their lives a little more in stuff they don't get at home.
We just watched the Olympics. You played a high level hockey. You coached. I still play. We're still active. The Olympics, one of my past careers was a sport administrator. I had the honor of working on the torch relay back in the day, and I was relating the excellence that we approach how we work to Olympism and the ideals of Olympism. Talk to me about that and how we need to perhaps help kids better embrace and educators. Because if we all did better, kids would thrive more exponentially.
The one thing I noticed from the Olympics with students, especially if you're a teacher of a Canadian student, is you have to keep in mind that in your classroom is the future Summer McIntosh. Is that her name?
Yeah.
Right? It was the summer of summer, right? With all those medals that she won. Yeah, right?
Yeah.
Like, so in your classrooms, you have Summer McIntoshes. You have the kid that just won the breakdancing competition from Canada, known as the Wizard. He's sitting in your classroom too. And if you don't pull these passions and skills out of the kids, you are missing golden opportunities here.
And it's helping them, it's helping them understand and achieve and explore to reach their full potential, whatever that might be.
Right.
I never imagined I'd be here today connecting with you on the podcast when I studied sport management back in the day. So the reality is, it's about skills. Talk to me about the importance of the 7 Cs, if you will, because it originated partly from New Brunswick with the former deputy minister I teamed up with, and the assistant deputy minister. Yeah, so that was David Roberts and John. His name escapes me.
McLaughlin?
No,
Nope.
it was a previous one. But yeah, so it had its origins, C21 Canada partly had its origins in New Brunswick because you were leaders.
Yeah.
And again, you're back. You led the way. I attended in April, I attended the first AI think tank led by New Brunswick of any province in Canada.
Right.
You were the first. So how does that make you feel?
That's really, really cool. And back to your the 7 Cs. I put it to you this way. I could teach you how to write a 5-paragraph essay. I could teach you how to use Unreal Engine. But these things 5 years from now may be different or may have changed. But if you teach the 7 Cs, you're giving kids jobs for life, especially in this AI era. You need to have those 7 Cs to navigate this. Again, I call it a fury, but it's a fury of AI coming at us. And without those 7 Cs, it's going to be overwhelming. It's going to be a problem. So I think the 7 Cs are a great way to balance AI and what it's about to do to our entire world.
Well said. And, I'm just so thrilled to have you here. I know we need to get back to the Serious Play Conference at the University of Toronto, Mississauga. I'm so pleased you were able to join us at the space and tour it, get a feel for what my world is like on a daily basis. I'm so honored to be part of this community and it is about community.
Yeah.
And we've experienced that today at the summit where we met people for the first time that we've never met before.
All walks of life. Yeah. All jobs, all careers, all walks of life. It's really neat.
Any final thoughts to share?
I don't get to Toronto that often. I'm a diehard Leaf fan, so this is great. I feel like I'm
home. My God, that's for another podcast.
That's another podcast. Maybe when they win.
Well, enjoy your time in Toronto. You got a treat at the local shawarma place.
That's right. Thanks.
Pita Nutso, if you're ever in Streetsville, that's, in my estimation, the best in Toronto. Well, thank you again for your time. Congratulations on sharing that success that they had with their Schools of the Future Challenge. My name is Robert Merdlanchi of the Mindshare Learning Report. Thank you again, Ben Kelly. And until next time, stay healthy, stay safe, and keep the learning curve steep.